I would like to present to you a being of light. This is someone you have never met before, nor has contacted anyone in the plane of Earth before today, but as you say, times are changing. My brother Rander, who was the creator of the universe Amaran, he has been very interested in the events on Terra, because of course it was his universe that gave the dark place that has been a challenge for all of you in this civilization. As I told you in a previous message, how our universe began, and the invasion of Amaran. Amaran no longer exists because it was necessary to dissolve the entire project in order to stop the spread of darkness and destruction that threatened to create chaos throughout the multiverse. With the direct supervision of Uno, those embodied beings could be moved and were taken from the planets where they had been living, and were finally dispersed throughout the cosmos, including some of the first planets of our universe. Others simply decided to leave their bodies and return to the Uno. The only ones who refused to return to the light were those who escaped at the last moment in their ships and managed to cross the border of our universe, in which they set their eyes to establish bases from which to dominate and eventually take control of the whole universe. I would not have allowed this to happen, but we do not just attack and kill living beings because at a future date could be dangerous. Our principle of non-intervention leads us to tolerate, and if necessary, to control the offensive beings in the best way we look more effective. In the case of groups of dark that had little organization to divide the territories, especially in the galaxy, we take an approach of cautious optimism, and began a program of containment, diplomacy and infiltration to try to bring back the option of being included as respected members of society in general. You, my dear, were race and civilization in which this project come to completion. And so it has been. They are now in the phase of cleaning and removing yourself from toxic thoughts and toxic environmental effects left behind. Efforts to rehabilitate and return to the light have led to successful peace treaties with some factions, rehabilitation programs for those who agreed to return to light instead of being dissolved, and the unfortunate dissolution of the others who were not in according to abide by the universal laws, which continued to threaten with nuclear disasters of all beings through the multiverse. Many of you know the story of the End of Lucifer project, which was documented in these pages and Blow Talk Radio about August 22, 2013, celebrating the return of reptilian races under the leadership of Prince Reginaldo, Mother/Father God, and Lucifer himself. I will not review the heroic work of humanity, which harbored the recalcitrant reptilians in his own body for 3 generations to help them learn love and compassion here. I recommend to learn the history of this difficult challenge and sometimes life-threatening, and resulted in the rescue of nearly 1 million reptilians, who will be among his mentors and teachers in the coming years. Now, I'm going to happen to Rander, my dear brother and friend, who is important information for you. Welcome to our world, Rander. Rander, thank you, dear brother. Kathryn. I'm taking a moment to return to recalibrate the energy. Rander is very high frequency. At first I was headache and dizziness, so I needed to branch out, reach up into my brain to adapt to vibration. Rander. Welcome, Rander. I am honored to be talking to you. I will write your words as you speak. Rander, that's fine, dear. I am sure that we will do very well once you get used to me. K. I feel her huge smile and feel that he is affectionate with me is charming. I am Rander, the creator and responsible for the dark races that have given them so many problems here in the galaxy of the Milky Way. I have not spoken with you during this incarnation, but I'm not really a stranger to some of you. I'm here to make contact with you for love. It is a very moving experience to be here with our beloved masters who are now surrounding me, and all who are reading now my message to you. It feels like a homecoming, is not it? For many of you, I am what you might call a long-lost uncle, and others, I am the creator who gave them birth, many eons ago. The I watched you in the days of its inception as a soul. I was the one who taught the laws of the cosmos, and was the one who helped them to the separation of male and female elements that would become their essential beings on their travels and lessons were preparing for their evolution as souls. You've never been out of my mind or my heart, for you are the adventurous I have created in my likeness, with the assistance of the and have watched with admiration as they ventured into the deep waters of life planet Earth. Although we do not feel pride, as you know, I have a deep feeling for you that is a combination of admiration, respect and familiarity, because you were my beloved family, dear. It is the feeling of returning to the starting point again in the arms of those who have loved so much and for so long. My heart is filled with love for you, but you should not drown our beloved channel with my tears of joy, and that interfere with your ability to see the page you are writing. Now she is laughing at me. Oh, such joy, such happiness I feel when I talk to you again after this enormous challenge they have undertaken for the good of humanity and the cosmos. Faithfully and well served, beloved children, life after life in these human bodies, fighting the concerted efforts of the reptilians, the Anunnaki, the Greys, Draconian, and all those who have called the Ashans, the inhabitants of their fourth dimension. They truly made their lives miserable, but now I am here to congratulate them for their freedom. It has been granted his release from all invasive species whose intention was to enslave them in their matrix, the network of ideas, beliefs and institutions created to deceive them into believing that his strength came from his evil inclination. I explain. The problem began millions of years ago, before the universe was created. My brother, whom I lovingly refer to as, O, the name of the soul was, Ahura, began his training as creator, and I was fine in the design and creation of a Marin. I was satisfied with my exquisitely complex creation, expression of the forces that interact elaborately intertwined level after level of energy. Ah, I was in my element, you might say. The one was ever present in my bold experiments, and willingly followed the example of one that was much more experienced and wiser than I was, but I was given a large and extensive freedom to go everywhere in my ideas, planets and stars that would support life, sentient beings that were part of the master plan for Amarin. And so I created a universe in which liberty would be the guiding principle, along with love and harmony. It is a delicate balance, as well as know in their own lives. Those of you who have children struggling with everyday problems, how much freedom is the perfect balance for a young man be? How far they can be authorized to extend the control limits before? Always, I took the more lenient approach, knowing that love was the greatest power of all, and that the light always be the guide would take us all finally back to one. And so I decided to shelve the reins, so to speak, and allow all my children create the atmosphere they found more interesting and challenging. I did not know then how imaginative my loved ones could be, but, of course, we're made in the image of the like me, and so, as you might say that the skies are the limit. They were the ones who requested and were allowed to design the concept of the matrix, which include the dark and the light, illusion and truth, and out of this design came the behavior they now call evil. They gave a name to this illusory energy of darkness. They called Satan. There was no being with this name. It was just the description of the entire spectrum of the rebellious impulses, those calculated forays into independence me, and the clear connection and conscious of light. As you can see, they had become accustomed to the idyllic and comfortable existence in love and light. They believed that if they were challenged with more intensity, more sorely tempted to turn away from our embrace of acceptance, learn to appreciate more deeply and would experience tremendous growth. Since then, we have learned that elements of some of my soul's creations were weighted a little too much toward freedom and individuality, and left them without the anchor needed to recover from their painful experiences without injury to their souls. Of course, it was not a consideration in my original plan of having painful or harmful to my children experiences. I had imagined a universe of light, love and harmony. I created the universe was one of great beauty, full of volatile energy and extensions, compensation belts, nutritious and colorful plasma energies, gentle waves modulated in my creations could play. This was my love. But they were doomed to be overtaken by dark that focused on the creation of increasingly complex twists and turns in her womb, while developed powerful new technologies. They moved quickly in their technical skills, but failed to develop their spiritual connections between them and us. Over the eons, they learned to embody in the lower dimensions without returning to my loving embrace, a trick that also led to his universe, and so the gap widened between beings of light and those who played on the dark side. As you can imagine about my story, all this went too far. While the Sons of Light designed technologies to make their most interesting and prosperous lives, including the possibility of traveling to the ends of their galaxies, the Dark began to develop weapons, including extremely powerful inventions as you have seen in your planet. We were aware of their ill-conceived projects and dark intentions, and continually tried to work with them to teach them the simple mistake of his roadways, but settled both in their own illusions that were no longer able to grasp that light could never be defeated, and had come to believe that the Matrix was his own creation. It was a truly tragic descent down. My grief is causing many difficulties for my beloved Sons of Light, which eventually forced to leave their homes because of the destructive and dangerous intentions of his brothers and sisters as Gray. Nobody wanted to see destroyed our glorious creation, but finally decided on the boards of Amaran, in consultation with my beloved children who had become the brilliant leaders of our universe, who had no choice but to leave our beloved home immediately and disband again in the power of one. Our intention was to start again, with greater wisdom and determination to create a new universe. With the help of it was safe and prosper in love and light. Our board meetings were poignant, full of feelings of nostalgia and a kind of lament, but never waver in our intention to preserve what was of light, leaving behind everything else. It was not easy to give the children of my heart, because I had never stopped loving them, even watching them moving on a path to destruction. It was that connection, the pain of my heartstrings, who transmitted the dark hint of my intentions, and that perhaps made me hesitate a moment as I said goodbye to those he loved. Our universe disappeared in a flash of light, as if it were swallowed up in the void, but some of the dark to escape, crossing borders in his then young universe, where they became the great annoyance they have faced since. Kathryn, I am struggling with feelings. As I write these words, feel these waves of deep sadness and pain in my heart. It is difficult to continue, may not be enough tears to express the pain I feel for the loss. Randa is describing the slash. She comforts me and tells me that my tears are the memories of the time we made this choice together with others, many of which are now the company of heaven, our fellow travelers.